Here we have my 1922 Model TT. We'll go through the steps of how to start it. It's not that complicated. I've seen videos where people are trying to figure it out, and I think they read too many forums between all the different year models, and they do change how late they get. But with this particular style, it's simple. So go ahead and tell you, if you have the turn knob, and it may not be shaped like this, but if you have the adjustment knob for the fuel air mixture, that's going to be your primary concern when you're cranking it. You see it turns here and it controls the fuel and air mixture. All of them are a little different, and you have to find their sweet spot. My sweet spot is, now this is when they're all cold. It should be all of them when they're cold. They need more air than when they warm up. So that's why you have it up here. So what I'll do is, whenever it's cold, I'll turn it all the way down to where it seats, and then I open mine 3 half turns. Yours might need a little bit more, but I'm gonna tell you, it does need more air when it's cold. Now that's 3 half turns open. When it cranks, it's going to crank right up. I give it just one little shot on my choke before I turn the key on. So what I'm going to do is, I'll step on the pedal, I'll get it turning over 1 or 2 turns, and I'll pick my choke up and right back down, and then I turn the key on. So I primed the engine, then turned the key on and gave it some fire with my air 3 turns open, 3 half turns open, and it fires right up. I have my spark advance and my throttle usually cranking right in the middle on both of them, and I'll let them warm up like that. Now you're gonna let it warm up for a few minutes before you do anything with it, but as it warms up, you'll hear it start to sputter, hesitate, make it sound like it's kind of like a hit and miss engine. These are not hit and miss engines. These are fire smoothly. So if it's not idling smoothly, something's wrong. But as it gets to sounding like that hit and miss engine, you'll just reach over here then and start turning your air down. And I'll go ahead and turn mine down about 1.5 times, about closed off halfway, right off the bat after it warms up. And then as I'm driving it, it'll warm up even more, and it'll start to spit and sputter a little bit, and then you'll go ahead and close it down a little bit more. Now it does need some air to operate on, so it's not going to hurt it if you turn it as far as it can. As soon as it starts to die out, then start to open it back up and find its sweet spot right there. On the spark advance and the throttle, when I'm driving, anytime it's idling, I'll leave it about halfway. That's my sweet spot on mine. And then when I'm driving it, if I'm out on the road, high speeds, I'll go ahead and pull it all the way down, and then I'll operate my speed strictly off of the throttle lever. You got your pedals down here. This is your high speed, your neutral, and your low gear all the way up. So if you're just driving around before you get on the road, keep your foot on it about halfway and you'll be in neutral. When you get ready to go, push it forward, and that'll go in low gear. When you're out on the road, high speeds, getting as fast as you can go, and you've got to throttle all the way back. Well, right before you get ready to go to the higher speed, lift your throttle up, let your foot off of that pedal. That'll engage high gear, and then you can start throttle back down wherever you want to be, top out somewhere around 35 miles an hour. This is your reverse lever here. You can push it anytime. Mine operates whether the brakes braked or not. Actually, that's the way I do reverse, because that pulls it back into neutral. That pulls my drive gears back to neutral. So then I'll reverse using just the middle pedal, and this is your brake pedal here. So we'll go ahead and crank it up. Now I've already ran this for a few seconds. I pulled it out of the trailer here just so I could show it, but it's good and warmed up. So let me crank it back down to where my operating warm temperature, and that's about 1 turn open. Okay. And I usually need 2 hands, because I usually pump this 1 time and then flick this on, but let me just get on it. I got squishy shoes on today, and they're not the best shoes in the world. Got my Hokas on, big soles. Those are not good shoes to push that start pedal with because it's kind of hard to push, and these shoes are real squishy. We'll try it anyway. See, I'm gonna show you what I just now did. When I was showing y'all how to operate this thing, I pulled my spark advance all the way down, and that's the way I was just now trying to crank it. And I just noticed that, so we're gonna pull it back up to middle. And it may be a little flooded right now because of that, but it should crank right up. Yeah, it's gonna be a little flooded. Tell you what, maybe it's cooled off a little bit and it needs a little bit more air. There you go, give a little bit more air. There you go. So again, usually the start and how smooth it runs is going to operate off that switch right there. I thought that I had plugged it a little bit, but didn't make sense just having the spark advance down and flooding it. I gave it a little bit more air, fired right up. Heard the engine sound right there, but it smoothed out right there when I found that spot. But again, as I'm driving it, I'm still opened up a little bit too much right now. As I'm driving it, it'll start to get a little weak. You'll feel it and start to maybe sputter a little bit, and you can close this down a little bit. I'm gonna make that sound one more time, see if you guys might can hear it in there. So that right there shows you the difference in that knob and how it sounds whenever it runs smooth, or if it's opened up too much or closed too much. Again, this is my 1922 Model TT. We do have some restoration that's done on it. This is not the original wooden firewall. I hate that they didn't use a solid premium lumber there, but it's still good, pretty. This would have been an aftermarket piece, and they probably put that on while they were changing the wooden firewall. The wooden firewall probably got burned up, or it was deteriorated by the weather. So when they changed the wood, they went ahead and put this protective layer on there. This would not have come from the factory with the metal firewall. But other than that, it's a really good example of a early model Ford TT. You see they still had the gas lanterns here, and they still operate. I have them operational. Got the gas lanterns on the front, also have the electric lanterns on front. This is the second year that they put the starter in them from the factory. These were operated off of 6 volts, so those lights are not very bright. I've seen some Yahoos put 12-volt batteries in theirs, and I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to take something this rare and unique and start monkeying up with twice the power. But there's my 6-volt battery, and that's the reason it turns over so slow, because it has literally half the juice that your normal vehicle nowadays has. The tail lamps on them, they did make them to look like the gas lantern, but it's electric. get ready to age your Model T, you come over here to the driver's side of the engine, and you look over here on the it's going to be below the water inlet, stamped on the block somewhere. Now this side over here at 19 there, that's just a foundry stamp, so we're not going to worry about that one. But just behind it here, see that stamp there, that 5598262. Now that's the serial number of the motor. That's the 5 million. It was made in the 5 million block. 5,598,262. That's the number that this motor was produced right here. And online has a lot of different ways that you can research when that number was made. This particular engine was made between April the 27th and April 29th of 19 and 22, and the motors would have been made about the same time the truck was. So that gives you an idea of when the truck was actually assembled. So they just didn't have a stockpile of engines sitting back waiting. The engine was made in that time period, the truck was made in that time period. So there's where you can age your engine at right there. Another little fun doodad is the temperature gauge itself. I don't know if you see the red. Can you see the red down in there? This is just like the red thermometer back in old school that your mom would stick in your mouth to see your temperature. This will be the front side thermometer. I like to see this side because I like to see how far the thermometer goes up when I'm driving it. Now the sight glass on the other side, that would be the side that would be typically facing the driver, and they would just look for that red to be somewhere in the center of that sight glass. So while you're driving it, the red was somewhere in the center. That's good. Again, I like to see the entire glass, so I have it turned around backwards where I see the full glass on the other side. Now, checking the oil in these things is really easy, but you have to know what you're looking for. If you come around the passenger side of the vehicle and look under it, you'll see the bottom of the case, and you'll see these two pit stops. One's a little bit higher than the other. When you put oil in it, you leave the top one open. When it starts coming out of it, you go ahead and stop putting your oil in there and just let it run out. It's not supposed to come out of the top one. So when you have it run out of the top one, you have too much. But to check the level of the bottom one, when you open it, if you have oil come out, then you have enough oil. So you just need to make sure you have the oil somewhere between that level right there. And that's it for checking the oil. Now, since these fuel systems are so old, these trucks are so old, we'll go ahead and go over what the most common problem is whenever somebody gets in one that hasn't been crunk in a while, and that is dirty, nasty fuel lines, shut-off valves, nasty tanks. But you can pull that tank out there. It just has a couple of rings holding it in. Pull the tank out, take that shut-off valve apart. The bottom of it will be completely gummed up. The bottom pit stop will not drain any water or gas because it's completely full of gum. The design helps it do that. And then we'll go back up top to the carburetor. And I go ahead and suggest taking that fuel tank off, cleaning the fuel tank out, the shut-off valve, the fuel line, and the carburetor. It's just a simple, easy peasy carburetor to take off. Take the bottom bowl off, clean the jets out, the needle and seat, and reinstall it. Easy carburetor to reinstall and to clean out. So that's going to be your problem right off the bat. I'd go ahead, before you even try to drive it around, I'd go ahead and do those three things right there. It'll take you an hour to do all three, and you'll save yourself a lot of time and headache by being broke down on the road whenever it gets warmed up and it shuts off and you don't understand why, and it's just because your carburetor's all gummed up.